see Seb. Get the absolute legend that is the Prince Livery Darkness, Diaco, joining us from Germany. Soon to start Season 3 of the EDTM. That'll be 2 weeks away, 2 weeks today, I believe. So very much looking forward to that one. TJ, great to see you, mate. I was hoping you'd join, but nevertheless, it's great to see you. Sorry you can't make it, mate. Been thinking about you. Hope you're keeping well. Hopefully we also trip for a good one today as well. But yep, Diaco in Mercedes AMG 2016 model. And of course we cannot forget our senior in the identical Mercedes AMG, winner of the round 6 at Daytona. And a well-deserved win. Very capable driver with great consistency, so hopefully he won't get caught up in too many, shall we call them, scuffles. Today for the final of the DWP here at Watkins Glen. Travis, you cannot forget the absolute legend that is Travis, joining us from Australia. People from Australia, USA, England and Germany all joining us on track today here at Watkins Glen. Happy days, mate. Well, I hope all's good with you. I don't know if there's any information I've missed, or I know you had issues with your Wi-Fi, but that was a while ago now. But yeah, I hope all is well. But yep, Travis is absolutely going to be one to watch again, and with this being the finale, we'll see how he can perform, as this is the last of what we'll remember of all drivers on track today. And Phil hosting the season, I think, or hosting the race today rather, here at Watkins Glen. I don't know whether he's going to be racing or not, whether he's just hosting the lobby, but we will see. They call me Jay. Rocking up to the party in his 2016 Mercedes AMG, getting out on track, trying to get as much practice in as he possibly can before the infamous qualifying session begins for round 6. You're saying Drew for the win today, hey? Well, he's currently got the fastest lap. Travis about to cross that start-finish line here at Watkins Glen. And that puts him from P7 to P6. That's if the free practice sessions even do. Hold the delta times, but nevertheless, who else have we got here? Mugelina. We've got another Dirk from Germany. 2 Dirks from Germany joining us today for the finale. Say hello to Seb. There he is. Drew. The BMW M6, a firm favourite there for TJ. We'll see what he can do today for round 7 finale. Moomin currently occupying the fastest lap for the drivers that are out on track, I assume. Crossing the start-finish line. And just under a tenth separating Moomin to Seb there from the McLaren to the Jaguar as he enters turn 2. And stung with a half-second penalty, but nevertheless, Drew out on track, P9 and still fastest lap. So yeah, I'm going to assume that the deltas aren't going to be recording accurate times here for the free practice session, but we will see how the qualifying goes, as I assume we are moments away. Yeah, let's see what Seb can do for round 7. practicing his drifts. The absolute legend. Coming up to a right-hand corner. Maybe not so hard on the brakes there, but maybe a little bit more focused on perhaps just feathering the brakes and to get as much initial turning as possible while still on the brake. Very not physically challenging, but somewhat of a challenging track with the different array of corners, but we do have a fair dose of camber, and it's definitely a driver's track. They've obviously built this track with the driver in mind. And it looks as though qualifying is about to take place. It looks like he's suffering with a little bit of a lag there as he gets stung with 3 seconds. Don't know the lag that was responsible for that 3-second penalty there, but nevertheless Seb is in tow of Dirk as they make their way through the right-hander and up to a very fast section here at Watkins Glen. Can't quite get past. I think the lag is causing issues there, but the show must go on. And our senior out of the pits. See what times these boys can put down as they all finish their out laps. Hello Drew, good to see you my man, and Phil, good to see you too. Thank you for hosting the finale of DWP's season and series as we bring the DWP GT3 series to a close today. See what the boys can do as our senior brings it into a right-hand corner there, closing in towards the final few corners, the final sector. A couple of cars above. Drivers are going to be finishing their out laps and on to their first flying lap. Let's see what the boys can do. Mucciolina now in the tow of Seb. I don't know whether he's really suffering from network issues, lag issues, but that seems to be quite horrific, at least from my perspective. I do have rather good internet, and we are in with a LAN cable, so we are ready to rock and roll on this end. But nevertheless, drivers cross that start finish line, as does Travis, fourth driver to cross. Fifth is Peter from Poland, joining us today for round 7 here at Watkins Glen, and Diaco, the Prince of Darkness, making his way through the right-hander of T2 up the hill here at Watkins Glen. And of course Phil is out on track with us. That's a beautiful sight to see, joining us for the festivities for DWP's finale here at Watkins Glen. And of course we cannot forget Moomin finishing his out lap, just beginning his flying lap here for round 7. You can see the helicopter there flying at the top right hand screen of the camera shot, and they call me Jay. Also joining us in the 2016 AMG into the right hand and up the hill. And we cannot forget Drew. High hopes for Drew today from TJ, supporting him from the grandstands as he makes his way across the start finish line and begins lap 1. Seb already stung with a half-a-second penalty, meaning he's probably not going to be able to watch for lap 1 qualifying session, but we'll see what he can do. Dirk closely following. Yeah, stung with that penalty. Mucciolina taking P1. Our senior taking P1 with 2 seconds ahead. Travis crossing that line 3.5 tenths of a second, separating himself between him and our senior, as the Australian and Brit continue to fight it out. It's like the Ashes all over again here at Watkins Glen. Diaco 4 tenths of a second behind Peter from Poland. Phil taking a P3, and Seb, of course, still with a half-second penalty. But Moomin now ready to cross that start-finish line here at Watkins Glen for the first time, and that puts him in a podium provisional P3 and knocked down straight away into P4 side by side with They Call Me Jay on grid 2. And 6 tenths of a second separating Moon to They Call Me Jay for the provisional P3 position. See how these boys fare. Okay, let's jump on board with Mujalina. Seb also about to cross that finish line. Our senior into the pits. Now Mujalina moving up 1 with his time there. Keeping an eye on the delta. Peter from Poland, can he capitalise on his P7? As he crosses the start-finish line, he can capitalise on time, but not position. It appears here a lap 4 of the qualifying session. Let's see what he can do. As you just see Mr. Senior also exiting the pits there on fresh rubber. Peter from Poland will give this dude a little bit of love from the outside, as he has rocked up again with another fresh looking livery. The black-pink livery DWP in the diffusers and splitters there from the number 78 driver. See what the legendary Pete from Poland can do today. Let's have a little look at the time. So I've just noticed that Travis from Australia taking podium glory, provisional podium glory, it must be said, with a .111. Look at them numbers as he also crosses the final round corner here at Watkins Glen. Can he increase that time, putting even more pressure on our senior as he closes his way towards the final start finish line? No, he cannot. Under a tenth of a second though. Very consistent lap times here. Our senior closing his way towards the start finish line as he enters the right hand final corner there. Can he capitalize, or was that still the outlap? Yes, it is still the outlap, so he's still gonna have to work. He's going to have the heat in his tyres though. Hopefully he can have a good run and continue to put pressure on P1 Travis from Australia there. Corners away, but They Call Me Jay exiting that final corner and hurtling his way towards the Watkins Glen sign, and nothing seemed to occur there, so we will move back onto Drew next to cross the start finish line as he makes his way through the left hander here at Watkins. Can he capitalize? Eyes on the delta. Do we get any movements of position as he comes to the final right hand corner here? little bit late on the GoPro there, helmet cam, but it looks as though we didn't quite get the exit he wanted, and nevertheless staying in P3. A little bit more exit speed also available there, so there is more time available here for Drew. Keeping it safe and steady. Obviously we'll see how the race progresses, but he did put down some pretty quick lap times down in free practice, and also that is running on with qualifying with a provisional P3 there in, taking as much of a line as possible. A little bit more track available, which is nothing but a good sign when you know there's more time to be had. Can he clip that apex? Not quite. Again, more track available here for Drew, but we will see how he fares. Very decent exit there. Tyres not really squeaming or struggling, meaning he's able to get all of that power down, pushing that M6 forward as quickly as possible. Pretty decent corner there. Let's see how Drew can continue. Final few corners, and he is on a best. Again, more space there for Drew, but he isn't flinging it in. Pretty comfortable, clean lap there from Drew as he crumbs towards the start-finish line, and it's a P2. He's taken P2 with a 0.545 gap from P1 of our senior. Travis knocked back into P3, so we have had quite a few changes here, and we'll see what Drew can do. He's got a lot more initial turning available, but of course driving styles beautiful. Oh, is that going to be a penalty? And also off the line there as well, but nevertheless that was a little bit of a push there as Mr. Senior gets a pair of fresh Michelin softs on and is back out for his final stint on qualifying here for the DWP round 7 here at Watkins Glen. Travis making his way up the hill, and we will of course get some corner names up as we progress. Very quick downshifts there. Again, it does look as though all the drivers perhaps struggling with the apex on that corner, which is a very tricky corner to master. If you're too early on the brakes, then you've already compromised entry and exit speed. But Travis a second quicker here on lap 7 on his qualifying. Senior P1, Drew P2, they call me JP4, Moomin P5. Now he's gained time and he's somewhat fluffed that corner, but I don't think he's quite going to have lost 3.5 tenths, so we will stay that position away from Drew there. 0.2 of a second separating him away from the very quick and competent Mr. R Senior in provisional P1, who's just completed his outlap. We will jump back onto him, and Drew into the pits. Seb P3, which is probably P4, with Drew just making his way into the pits. They call me Jay, making his way through his final right-hand corner there, but also on his outlap. As I just catch that with my eye, but with a pretty comfortable P4 there. Pete from Poland rocking P5 in his beautiful liveried M6, and Moomin, the loveliest dude I know, rocking P6 side by side with his fellow DTR racer. Is Moomin, and Peter Phil rocking P7 there, but of course that can change as Diaco is in the pits checking out the competition, I assume, as is Drew and Dirk Mugilina. So next to cross is Travis. Can he take P1 glory away from our scene as he comes to that final round corner, and it'll just wait to that start finish line here? Watkins, Glenn, go bowling. Has anyone been bowling, by the way? And after driving here, Watkins, Glen, I'm curious as to whether their go bowling sign has made anyone go bowling. A bit of promotional signage there. Not quite able to make anything happen for any of the drivers out on track, and I believe that is going to be bringing the qualifying session close to a close. Phil bring it into the pits. Getting a pair of fresh new Continental softs. Stung with 3 seconds there. And drivers putting their preferred choice of tyre on for the race start. Now I'm just going to grab myself a water and I'll be back in a few moments. We are going to be moments away from that green for the DWP round 7 here at Watkins Glen. So Mr. Senior with the fastest lap of a 1:43.393. Such a glorious sound, isn't it, from the Aston Martin? He hurtles his way through Watkins Glen. Not sure on the entirety of the length of qualifying. should be bringing the session to a close. I know Phil did go in for a new set of softs, finishes out lap and about to complete lap 1, so there may be 3 laps-ish of time left to go. Into the left-hand corner, a little bit of a lift, trying to maximise as much momentum as he can as he hurtles his way into the final right-hand corner here at Watkins Glen. And it's come off a little bit too much, compromising exit speed. And a beautiful way to end Phil's qualifying session. As Moomin Papa makes his way into the first corner here at Watkins Glen, and I believe we are moments away now from the race start of the finale of DWP Season 2 Round 7. Definitely an array of different sort of types of corner with long leading fast corners into some pretty sharp and closing in corners here at Watkins Glen, but nevertheless a lot. Cameras, so we will just stay on board with P3 now. Our senior, of course, we do have a long race left to go. Let's see what's occurring on the rear end of our senior's bumper there, and it looks as though Diaco taking a defensive line, which is going to compromise his... Oh no, we've had a big off there. We've had a... That's not ideal for senior there. A little bit of a Constantina effect going on, and unfortunately that has put him to the back of the grid. So I guess we'll see him work his way back through perhaps, but nevertheless I think a few drivers going into that corner there, which is always the worry of race starts, I suppose. And now we have Travis fighting P5 and 4. See P3, 2 and 1 all enter. Yeah, no false start. Okay, just get my bearings together. And they call me Jay. Rockin' P3. Might be a restart here. feel like that would probably be the way to go. Looks as though that is what is going to occur, and it is so. Just wait for the restart. Well, I think that's fair, all in all, especially for the finale. And we'll see how the Mercedes, Corvette, Jaguar and BMW, Aston Martin and McLaren all fare today. Okay. Oh. See if we can get them to stack up. Flying lap. Okie doke. So, quick one lap qualifying. Don't know whether they will reduce the race time by 5 minutes. So everyone can finish their race comfortably. Nevertheless, I don't know, is qualifying on? Are we on qualifying? Outlap and one flat. Okie doke, so drivers completing the outlap. First across the line, so I believe I'm not too sure whether this is qualifying or not, but nevertheless, we shall most certainly find out. Moomin Pepper in the McLaren finishing turn 1 and entering turn 2 up the hill here at Watkins Glen. Seb coming out of turn 1. Travis in pursuit. Diaco coming up to the right-hander and up the hill. Pete from Poland coming up the hill. Mr. R Senior out of turn 1, I believe his outlap may have been completed. Doesn't say outlap above his time, although I believed Drew was the first one out, but nevertheless. J on the outlap. Okay, so let's just stay on board with Drew then for a few moments as he comes up to the final right-hand corner here at the Glen. We're going to see a time 1:43, 1:44, 1:45 from Drew for his qualifying. Moomin takes P2, Seb takes P1, Diaco takes P3, Pete from Poland takes P3, putting Diaco in P4, our senior taking P3, Dirk crossing that line, taking P5. Phil coming to the final right-hand corner, just clipping the wall there, going under the go bowling sign, and takes P7. They call me Jay, still on an outlap. God. They called me Jay there, working his way through a unbelievable amount of tyre smoke from 3 to 4 cars that were doing donuts there into turn 1. That was a sight you don't see very often. They'd called me Jay, still yet to finish his lap. Not sure whether we're going to have a start here. Everyone's obviously got time constraints to deal with here, but we've got another 50 seconds. Maximising as much of the available track limits as possible. Coming through to the penultimate left-hand corner here at the Glen. What can the legendary They Call Me Jay do? Joining us from the US of A. Can Mercia prevail as he goes into the final right-hand corner under the go bowling sign here at the Glen? What is it going to be for Jay? I'm not even going to know because everyone's in the pits. 1.2, I've got no idea, but nevertheless, that's his qualifying session done. Perhaps a P7, 8. Absolutely no idea. Peter from Poland is okie dokie. So let's jump on board with Drew for a few moments. What is going on? and we get the green, and it looks as though we've had another incident from the start. Fortunately, that wasn't a full 360 there from Moomin right at the back of the pack, so it is a go for all drivers on track. It looks as though Drew taking P5 in pursuit of Mugelina in the black, white and green livery 2016 AMG up the hill into the left-hand corner. Very fast few sections into probably the most uncomfortable section here on lap 1 here into a fast right-hander. We've got 3 cars going side by side here. I hope this does not end in tears. All drivers still pointing forward. Someone having to take a big cut there, but nevertheless all drivers are still on track, and it is a go. We are fortunately able to continue this race. Drew taking P4 now, 0.2 of a second is his pressure as Mugelina looks as though he's on the inside line of Drew. The M6 is battling out with the AMG. Travis taking a P3 there. He's on the outside line, but his nose was just ahead of Drew there, but it looks as though They Call Me J might be making an inside move, but they're going to be going 3 wide. Drew on the outside. They Call Me J. He's given that position up. Drew going from P5 to 4 to 5 to 6. Our senior under pressure from a very capable P2 there. Seb just in his own sort of world at the minute in pursuit of Travis, and Dirk chasing Seb down, but under pressure from Jay, as he was the last one to obviously finish his qualifying time, and that's put him in position here to fight for Dirk. He's got that line. Looks like we may have the racing line here. Is he going to be able to get a good exit here as he continues to put the pressure down well and truly in slipstream? He's got that line. Is he going to get side by side to Dirk? Not quite able to get that position, but it looks as though we may have got the position as they exit turn 1 into turn 2. It looks as though they have it. Appears Dirk P6, Drew now P7, and under pressure from Poland as the identical M6 fight their way through the Glen. It looks as though They Call Me Jay. I'm not sure what was happening there, but it looks as though his car was a little bit side by side, and now giving that position back to Dirk. Dirk taking P4, Seb P3. Our senior still holding off P2, but it looks as though Travis is having to take a half a second penalty there, which is not ideal just within slipstream range, and he is going to lose all of that slipstream range to perhaps give position to Seb here as they make their way through the right-hand corner. He's going to save that position. He's going to the right-hander, serving his penalty, holding the defensive line, and Seb not quite able to make anything work there. But look at this, we've got an incredible fight for P4, 5, 6. Moomin P8, Drew P7, Diaco P6. They Call Me Jay in slipstream, or rather just out, just in and out of slipstream range there as they come towards the final right corner of the Glen and in towards lap 3. All drivers in shot. What an incredible turn of events we have had, and it is only lap 3 has gone for the inside line. Dirk J perhaps just giving him a little bit of space there. I'm not sure whether the Mercedes had his nose side by side, but nevertheless that's happened, and Jay stung with a half-second penalty there, and I think he may have just tried to just give space to Dirk. And also stung with a half-second penalty there, so he's not going to be too happy with those proceedings, it must be said. And now Dirk chasing Dirk as 3 AMGs make their way through the right-hand corner here at Watkins Glen. We can see Drew there in a pretty good position to attack the waiting penalty to be conceded. Sure what happened there, but we've had a few change of hands. Penalty is conceded. Diaco P4, Dirk P3, very wide into those corners was all drivers except Drew. Drew quite able to keep that as close as he possibly can to that apex, maximising track widths and of course exit speeds. Pretty decent set of corners there for Drew in the BMW M6. He's getting closer to them apexes. If he could just get a little bit closer, he can probably just keep that accelerator plant on, but we'll see how he fares. Dirk rocking P4 out of slipstream range and under pressure from Drew. Dirk P3, 5 seconds separating him from Travis, who is side by side with our senior fighting for P1. Our senior conceding through the faster section here at the Glen, but we are far from over as lap 3 continues to come to a close, and it looks as though our, Travis was a little bit wide there through that corner, so we'll see whether our senior can do anything here. You can see the delta is working towards our senior's favour through that sector. We'll see how those boys fare. As the fight for P4 continues, Drew working his way back up to P5, looking as though his composure is back on stead, and now putting pressure under the legendary DTR Diaco in P4. Very nice line from Drew there. Looks as though he has better lines than Diaco momentarily, and that is maybe going to be a penalty. As senior takes it back, and they go side by side, hurtling their way up towards turn 1. Our senior very composed, making his apex a glorious one, it must be said, and up the hill. Travis though in the slipstream of our senior, coming towards the sector where he lost position. What's going to occur here is he's got the run and he's taking a position, but not quite able to make it stick. As Chevrolet and Mercedes continue to fight for P1 glory, and these boys will never ever get to do this again. So this is all out for the Chevrolet and Mercedes teams here on track for round 7 of the DWP finale. Feathering the throttle a little bit sideways there, but composed as always is Travis in the Corvette, losing out a little bit of time there, but still putting an incredible amount of pressure on the boys. Drew taking P4 away from Diaco. Don't know whether that was because of a penalty, but nevertheless Diaco is in slipstream range of Drew, continuing to put that pressure on DTR FM78. Peter from Poland running a little bit wide there. That might be a penalty for him, and a little bit of lost time. Moomin race team, so we've got the DTR boys rocking the Delta there as they make their way to that start-finish line. Seb in P8 in the tail end of the McLaren, and Phil just behind Seb there, and they call me Jay. Not sure what's happened, but clearly something catastrophic. Well, either that or he's gone into pit. Our senior just able to hold off as they yet again side by side through the fastest section here at the Glen. What an incredible race we have here between our senior and Travis. We're going to have to keep an eye on with these two, but of course I do need to keep an eye on the rest of the boys, so we'll quickly just jump on with Dirk with a P3 half-second penalty. Drew potentially going to be taking P3 away from Dirk as he closes his way towards serving that penalty, so we will jump back on board with Drew. very well held, still able to put the power down. He's served the penalty, he's not quite able, he's leaving the inside line open. No, he knows he probably shouldn't have done that, but that's given Drew a racing line. And a little bit of contact there. I think maybe Dirk perhaps out of line, concentrating on defending there, maybe not quite got his average speed up, and it looks as though the boys are beginning to struggle with their tyre grips, but our seniors still able to hold off P1 and out of slipstream range. Our senior taking the run away from Travis. Let's see what they can do here as they come on to turn 1 here at the Glen. 7.62 of a second separating P1 and 2. Travis working his hardest, not quite able to make anything happen there, but he is just beginning to drawing back and closing in towards slipstream range. Let's see what he can do here as they close towards the hottest section of the Glen. Losing 0.2 of a second to our senior there. Dirk out of slipstream range to Drew and Diaco, Seb, Phil, Moomin in the pits with a new set of softs, as we see Peter from Poland in and out of the pits. Now back under pressure from the BMW is the Mercedes. Both drivers, I think, running a touch wide there. Keen to continue getting the best lap times possible. And I think Drew thought that Dirk was going to go for a racing line there, but actually was going in to the pits as he gets his new set of Michelin tyres on the Mercedes, earning their paycheck, and back out on track goes DTR Muggelina. Richie, good to see you. Dirk, hello. Sorry for those in chat. Keeping my eyes on the action as it unfolds. Hope you're doing well. And Nick, hello, good sir. Hope you're doing well. Pleasure seeing you. And it looks as though we've got a fight on our hands here. They call me Jay, Diaco and Moomin all in tow as they make their way up the hill and into the right hand corner up towards the fastest section here at the Glen. A worthy addition for the Gran Turismo 7 track series here. Seconds of a pit violation. That is gonna hurt the German driver there, as his fellow DTR driver Moomin Papa in the bumper and rearview mirror of Moomin goes to the penalty area, and Moomin taking position from his fellow racer. Our senior staying out, Travis into the pits, getting his new set of Dunlop tyres on as the Chevrolet boys earn their paycheck. Fuel going in, and that is out for the number 11 Chevrolet there. Phil also in the pits. They call me Jay, crossing that start-finish line. I'm back in P5, so they call me Jay was the first to pit then, I assume, given recent events. what we have seen unfold here at the Glen. Now, I am just going to jump on board with our senior. Let's see whether he decides to make a move into the pits. And there he goes. So that's into the pits for our senior. Mercedes boys are bringing in the dough today. Mercedes on track with his new set of Michelin's, fueled up, ready to rock and roll. But the question is, ladies and gentlemen, where is he gonna come in relation to provisional P4 Travis, as he was an extra lap out on worn tyres? Well, Dirk finding himself in P2, 7.7 seconds ahead of Travis. Very interesting set of events here as the two M6s now battle it out here at the Glen. Peter from Poland ahead of Drew. As they come towards the left-hander, Drew with a better line through there, but how has the exits gone? Peter from Poland not quite with the best exit there. Grass on the tyres. That may have given Drew the chance to capitalise here on a very awkward right-hand corner. Getting the gas too early there, and you will be spinning up them rear tyres as the suspension unsettles there side by side as the two M6s fight it out. Drew and Peter hard on the brakes. Can Peter get the cutback there? Has he got the better line? Is he going to go for the inside line there? No, he's going to go for the racing line. Not quite able to make it happen there. Drew able to make a position 3 seconds ahead there. As you can just see from the TV camera shot, we have DTR Diaco. And of course, a big shout out to the DTR boys, and especially Diaco, currently occupying P6. And in 2 weeks today, we are rocking season 3 of the EDTM with 3. I'll say that again, 3 sessions will be competing in the AM series, the Pro AM and Pro series. It's most certainly growing to be an epic one, so do not miss that one. The EDTM 2 weeks today, and of course will surely grow. But it looks as though Drew is actually beginning to make some moves. Gone from 3 to 1 seconds. We'll jump back on board with those as time goes on. Half-second penalty from They Call Me Jay, which is going to give Moomin Papa the opportunity to go on the hunt. They Call Me Jay serving his penalty, moving to the right hand side, but not quite able to make anything happen there. And I think Moomin, for some reason, not quite able, and has in fact lost time. But nevertheless, 6.7 is made a second towards Dirk, and Dirk 4 seconds down the road from our senior. as he occupies P2. Let's jump back on board with Diaco, as he is most certainly under pressure from Drew, and Drew seems to be in his element and zone now, as both drivers miss their apexes there. On the final right-hander of the Glen, he's got the speed. I'm not sure he's going to make a move there. Not the wisest decision, but it looks as though Dirk, running wide, has given position to Drew. So Diaco is clearly suffering from tyre wear. But of course, depending on who started on what, that can all change. Diaco can just hold on to Drew. He can get some free time with Drew's slipstream there in the M6. And Phil and Seb having a go at it, as Phil in the Aston Martin right on the bumper of Seb's Jaguar, hard on the brakes into a very awkward right-hand corner. Got to feather that throttle. You could just see on the TV there, you probably have to pause it, but you can just see there's a dip on the inside line. If you have too much power applied, close to 600 horsepower in these GT3 cars, then it will most certainly spool up. And cause grief. Slady, Simon, what an absolute pleasure it is to see you both. Best commentator, mate. Push, push. Appreciate the words, my friend. Appreciate the words. I think, if I'm honest with you, I think the commentating side, commentary side, is going to be a focal point of TMK racing. I will still drive and I will still race, but I just don't get as much from the racing these days. I very much just want to be in the car and driving without anything to do other than me in the car and having to play with whoever else is on track at that moment. So I think we'll be doing a lot more commentary as the time progresses, and we'll see how much we can grow and who we can get on board. Of course, it's always a pleasure to get the big boys on board. Get some bigger names in. Fortunate enough to meet plenty of people over the years, and Peter from Poland running a little bit too hot there and into the barrier, giving position to Phil. Peter perhaps in need of some new rubber. Phil occupying PA, and right ahead of him is Diaco and Seb. Looks as though Diaco may be beginning to struggle more than he would be comfortable with, as Phil flies towards the back end of that Mercedes and takes the inside line. I'm not sure what's happened to Diaco. But nevertheless, the race is continuing on, and Travis, 12 seconds separating him and our senior in P1. Diaco now hot on the heels, with Peter from Poland. Put 2 of a second. Penalty served, and Diaco moves back into P7. 5 seconds up the road is filling the Aston Martin advantage. We have 15 minutes of racing left to go. 9 more laps until we are complete with round 7 of the DWP GT3 series. I've got to say, Phil's Aston Martin is absolutely the best sounding car here on track today. Such a beautiful sound. And Drew just watching all the action unfold as he gets an incredible run out there as the Jaguar and McLaren fight it out for position. The BMW perhaps being a touch hold up here from the fighting. Not quite the best run out there from the McLaren. Changes gear and the McLaren just loses the pull there to the BMW, who's now got the inside line. Race-bred, thoroughbred that is the McLaren. And Moomin Papa into the pits with a fresh new set of Hankook tyres on as the McLaren boys get to work. Fueling up, and he is ready to go. Pit limiter on. Hopefully he can stay within the pit lines and not be stung. An unfortunate 3-second penalty as Pete from Poland and Diaco also enter the pits. She does sound nice though, does the McLaren? They call me J, P7, 2 seconds separating himself from P6 of DTR. Mugelina Dirk from Germany. The American driver makes his way up to the right hand corner. And just begins to bring Mugelina in as he goes side by side with Travis. Oh, looks like he lost it there a little bit. No replay, I don't know. Not sure exactly what happened there, but nevertheless Travis perhaps on worn tyres. Given the position, back again to the commentary, finding himself in P4 as Drew and Seb both now into the pits, and we have Jay fighting it out with Dirk as they come up towards the hottest section here at the Glen to the right, sharp left of the Glen. That might be a penalty there for Mugelina. Jay running wide, Travis also joining the party. As the three drivers into that right hand corner of the Glen, making their way through the penalty marker. And Phil rocking P2 just ahead there in the camera shot. Imagine Dirk will be feeling the pressure there from the identical Mercedes in. So Jay running hot there, losing the back end. Travis wanting to capitalize on that. He's on the inside line. Is he going to be able to make that happen and make it stick? He's got ahead of Jay through the penultimate corner and now into the right hand corner of the Glen, finishing off lap 17, kicking off lap 18 with only 8.5 minutes of racing left to go. Phil in and out of the pits. And Moomin Papa fighting it out with his fellow teammate Peter. Drew just in the back of the shot there. I'm sure as these two begin to fight it out, Drew will begin to make some free time. Seb P8. He's gone for the inside line of a very tricky fast-hand corner. He's made it happen though. Moomin, I think a little bit early on the brakes there just to allow him to pass through, making sure there was no unnecessary contact or dramas causing even more lost time, which can sometimes be quite substantial. Nevertheless, they call me Jay in pursuit of Travis, and Dirk losing it to the right hand corner here, and Travis now back in P2 as our senior still holding off P1 Glory. Is going to be just having a nice chill time, not really needing to push with the 20-second gap. 7 minutes of racing left to go. He's got this one in the bag unless he does anything that's silly. Up the hill into the right-hander. Wow, I mean, that is incredible driving there from our senior. I'm not sure he's taking it easy looking at this. Maximising his lap times. Certainly maximising his lap times, and perhaps even going for another fastest lap, capitalising on his previous and current fastest lap of the race with a 1:43.4. 9.5 here at the Glen. Incredible times and perhaps a well-deserved victory, but it is not over until the fat lady sings. It must be said. Travis P2, 20 seconds down the road. And beautiful lines here from our senior. They call me Jay, only just under 4 seconds of a gap between himself and Travis in P2. driving there from They Call Me Jay. It's gone from 3 to 5 seconds though, and 8, nearly 9 seconds separating They Call Me Jay from Dirk, after Dirk had his off on the right-hander, closing in on the previous lap, and 6 seconds behind the road from P4 is Peter from Poland, fighting off Drew in P6. Was nowhere near Travis. Yeah, it's a shame, Richie, isn't it? I think I don't know whether it's maybe even the crossplay features that are making the lag become an issue. But it's definitely up there with what Polyphony Digital need to start sorting. Happy birthday, Dominic! A wonderful day, good sir. Fat Lady's on in 5. Fat Lady on in 3 now. As Drew looks as though he had a pretty good line there, as he's continuing to put pressure on Peter from Poland in P5. He's most certainly going to have a run here as they're coming towards the high section of the Glen, and we are coming up towards the final 2 laps. Lap and a half left to go for the drivers out on track. Is Drew going to make something happen? He's side by side. He's got the line. He's going to go in towards the high section, and he's made it happen on Peter from Poland. Peter from Poland running a little bit wide there. Is he able to keep control of his BMW M6, and unfortunately losing out on a Slipstream Ranger and giving position to Seb, as Seb makes his way through there in his Jaguar, taking a P6. Absolutely eventful racing here from the boys for the DWP GT3 Race 7 finale, and we've most certainly been treated to a good one. Phil in pursuit of Moomin, Diaco 17.7 seconds ahead of Travis is our senior, as he is on his lap and a half left, I think. Perhaps Travis and They Call Me Jay on their final laps. Drew currently in P5. Very eventful race for that man in his BMW M6. Seb in the Jaguar. Can he make anything happen on the BMW M6? Occupying P5 on what I believe is the last lap here for round 7 of DWP's finale. Happy to hear it, Dominic. Smash that like button and subscribe, says TJ. Thank you, mate. Amazing race, says TJ. Great settings Christian has made for this race series. You're absolutely right, Richie, because every other race series, never has it been like this, and in every race there has always been a very good amount of action, if not all the way through. So big shout out to Christian from Vines Racing DWP for setting up and spending an incredible amount of time on setting up, as he has most certainly. Okay, so it looks as though our senior now on his final lap, and Travis 40 minutes in. Is that going to be a confirmed P2? Yes, it is for Travis with a beautiful, oof, a 360 across the finish line here. We're going to get the same from the Coma J. We're going to get a nice Tokyo drift spin as he confirms his P3. No, we don't, but nevertheless P3 for J. Mugelina P4. Seb P5, Drew P6, Peter from Poland taking P7, and Phil rocking a P8 as he gives us a beautiful pirouette there across that start-finish line. And Moomin also with a pirouette into Phil with a pinball, and Diaco nearly with a 2 for the price of 1. Full send there, taking P10 from the legendary Diaco. And again, EDTM is kicking off 2 weeks today. Do not miss that with these 3 sets of races that are kicking off. And DTR moving, taking P9, Phil P8, DTR Peter from Poland rocking a P7 there with his constant set of new liveries there from the legendary Peter. Always a pleasure to have that legend with us. Drew, incredible race. Appreciate the legend joining us today. He's rocking P6. Seb, always putting on a great performance. P5 for him today. Looking forward to see what he can do in the future. And Mugelino with a P5, and our senior with a well-deserved podium position. And congratulations to you, good sir. And that brings season 2 of the DWP to a close. I want to thank absolutely everyone that's been involved in the creation and the journey that has been DWP. There will be a season 3, but again I will remind you all, season 3 of EDTM, which is going to be an absolute firecracker of a series, is going to be on, and I'm going to be commentating the Pro Series. Very honoured to do comms for such a brilliant series with such a set of incredible drivers and racers. So, ladies and gentlemen, everyone in chat, thank you for all your likes, thank you for all the love, thank you for all the support. You're all such brilliant people, and that is going to be it from me. Have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon, night time, wherever you are from in the world. It's been an absolute pleasure being your host. I am TMK, and we will see you next time. Ciao, ciao.